Welcome to another edition of SVSU Red Alert, your weekly update on Saginaw Valley State University athletics. I'm your host, J.J. Boehm. The SVSU football team saw its season come to a close with a loss to Grand Valley to finish out the 2014 campaign. We'll review that one and also preview 2015 with their head coach, Jim Collins. We'll also get an update on SVSU softball program with their head coach, Todd Buckingham, and look ahead to the men's soccer team as they advance in the NCAA postseason tournament. Their head coach, Cale Wasserman, will join us as well. That's all ahead on this edition of SVSU Red Alert. Welcome back to SVSU Red Alert. I'm J.J. Boehm, joined by SVSU football coach Jim Collins. And Coach, one of those games, Battle of the Valleys, a lot going into it with the matchup against Grand Valley, and you're able to stop them, able to go down and score on the opening drive, and unfortunately just couldn't build from there, it seemed.
Well, you know, J.J., I thought our kids played extremely hard and competed well. We just weren't able to get enough things going on offense for us to be in a position to win that football game. I thought what Grand Valley did a great job of is dominating the line of scrimmage. Their strong defensive line did an excellent job of pressuring our quarterback, limiting our running game, and we just couldn't find that consistency and be able to move down the field and score points, especially without the ability to hit some big plays on them. So, you know, it was a little frustrating from that standpoint. And you know, as I said, there were a lot of plays in that game that you wish you could have had back, because there was a couple balls that I thought were in the air that we had a chance to make plays on that would have put us in position to score. But at the end of the day, I just don't think we were able we weren't able to block them well enough up front to move the football and score enough points.
It seemed as though on that first drive you were able to get some runs with the quarterback. After that, Grand Valley undoubtedly made some adjustments, and after that, again, as you said, it seemed like you just really struggled to get any offensive rhythm.
Well, that's a great point, JJ. You know, we ran the zone read those first 3 out of the first 5 plays, and they really opened things up for the quarterback. After that drive, they started taking that away and started making sure that end stayed home and played the quarterback and had the rest of their guys take care of the running back. And it forced us into handing the football off in the zone read game. And when you're doing that, you got to do a better job blocking people up front. So once again, I thought they made a good adjustment, taking Tyler out of the game in the run game. And then it comes down to how well can we throw the football. And there were numerous times where we had guys open down the field, but we just didn't have time to throw it.
So what do you take from this game now as you evaluate it? Because obviously some things from the defensive standpoint that I thought, particularly in the passing game, able to make some plays there, both in terms of getting pressure on the quarterback and in being able to make some plays in the secondary.
Great point, JJ. You know, I thought we really improved from last year to this year defensively. You know, I thought we did a good job of limiting teams' big plays. I also thought we did a good job of making sure we had a lot of people around the football. So obviously, I think that helped keep Grand Valley's point total down this past weekend. The big thing for us is we've got to grow and mature as an offense. We had a lot of young guys playing for us, and when you're young, it's two things really. It's a lack of experience that hurts you, but it's also a lack of physical development. And our redshirt freshman, sophomore linemen had a big task these last 2 weeks playing against juniors and senior defensive linemen that were really bigger and stronger than them, and we didn't match up well. So I think the biggest improvements on offense, obviously playmakers, making plays, we got to get bigger and stronger. Those are things that you have to have a sense of urgency to work on in the offseason.
You do also bid farewell to 12 seniors who concluded their Cardinal careers. A lot of them had been, you know, you look at them, they've been big players for you, not just this season, but going back 3 and in some cases 4 years, and part of those playoff teams, GLIAC North champions.
Well, you know, we talked about that in the locker room after the game. We've got all the GLIAC championship pictures up in that locker room, and 3 of the GLIAC North championship pictures up as well. And those seniors, they played on all those teams. And so, you know, it's sorry to see them go. I thought they really played well this past week. And I think if you evaluate what the seniors did, this past week. They probably had their best games of the season, and maybe even their best, just in terms of effort, their best games of their career. And that's what you want to see. You want to get them that win. Obviously, it would have been huge for those seniors to go out with a win, but they've got a lot of things to be proud of, and they've got that effort in that last football game to be proud of as well.
SVSU coming up short against Grand Valley, but there are some things to build on, and we'll talk about what the Cardinals do need to do to build as they look forward to 2015. That's coming up a little bit later on. But when we come back, I'll be joined by SVSU softball coach Todd Buckingham. That's next on SVSU Red Alert.
This week's Spring Hill Suites Female Athlete of the Week is Emily Wendling. Wendling, a sophomore forward on the SVSU women's basketball team, led the Lady Cardinals over the weekend in a GLIAC GLVC Challenge played at Northwood University. Wendling scored 12 points and hauled in the game-high 9 rebounds in the season-opening loss against number 9 Lewis on Friday, 11-14. It was her first game back since the 2012-13 season, as she missed all of last year with an injury. The Flushing native scored a career-high 33 points in the Cardinals' 76-71 victory over St. Joseph on Saturday, 11-15. She recorded a team-high 8 rebounds and 1 assist in the contest as well. The Cardinals return to action in 2 weeks when they travel to Fairbanks, Alaska to compete in the North Star Invitational from November 27th through the 20th. SVSU will play 3 games in the tournament, which will begin with an 8 p.m. contest against the host institution, the University of Alaska, on the 27th. Emily Wendling, your Spring Hill Suites Female Athlete of the Week.
Welcome back to SVSU Red Alert. I'm JJ Bain, joined now by SVSU softball coach Todd Buckingham. And Coach, limited opportunity for you to work with your squad over the past fall. I think you said you got in 6 games.
Yes.
What did you see from them, and what do you take away now as you get ready and start building towards your main season in the spring?
Well, one thing is evident, and that is that we're very deep. We have a lot of talent. Now it's just a matter of getting all the minds and the efforts on the same page and getting a little bit of continuity, because we do return a lot of experience, but we brought in some key newcomers as well, so getting those individuals to mesh. But I saw a lot of growth, especially from our pitching staff in the fall, so very excited about the spring coming up.
And what do you do in terms of how you evaluate the fall? Because obviously you look for certain things, but then you got months before you're actually going to see that put to use again.
Softball and baseball, I feel like, are 2 very, very difficult sports because, it's a year-round sport. But you get them going for the fall, and then you have this long winter before we take the field. And especially in this area, we don't really get to take the field until we go south. So in the fall, it's all about making sure you get enough reps for everyone, making sure that you put people in situations to where you can figure out, okay, when this kid's in the same position and situation in May, what will she do? And okay, well, she didn't do exactly the way we wanted her to now. Now we know what we need to build upon in the winter. So the fall, it really is all about, learning. It's all about the process. We don't care what the outcome is in the fall, but that's also, though, why we want to make sure we play enough games to make sure we test them on a daily basis.
And what are you looking for now in terms of how you get your team ready for its spring? Because obviously, you're going to go down south, you're going to play teams that, probably are a little more game ready and those kinds of things, but at the same time, gives you an opportunity to sometimes come out and surprise them with how well prepared you are.
Yeah, I'm very excited about our spring trip because this year is a little bit unique. I believe, to my knowledge at least, since I've been here, SVSU has always opened in our spring trip. We're actually playing 9 games before we even go on our spring trip, starting very early in February. So it's difficult because you hear the girls talking about, okay, yeah, when we go for spring trip. Ladies, we play 9 games before we go spring trip. So right now it's all about just taking one day at a time, understanding, the championship culture that we're trying to build and getting there to make sure we're not overlooking Bellarmine and Kentucky Wesleyan and the Chicago Dome tournament that we're playing in, because those are all region games. Don't have our eyes set on Florida yet, ladies, because we're going to play a lot of games before we get down there. So
What do you need to see from your team in order to be successful in 2015?
You know, it comes down to pitching. You know, like we led the conference in batting average, on base percentage, and slugging percentage last year. You know, that's why we finished, you know, going into that last weekend, we had a chance to win a share of the GLIAC championship, but it didn't exactly go our way. So what I'm really excited about and what I've really seen here in the fall is the maturation of our returning pitchers. You know, both of our top 2 pitchers return. Last year they were sophomores, so now they're juniors. You know, we have a new pitching coach that's just done wonders with those 2 and with the other individuals. You know, we have a pitching staff of 5 strong. You know, 3 that got action last year, 1 that was a redshirt freshman, and 1 that's a true freshman. So right now I'm just really excited about where we are pitching-wise because I know we can hit. I know we can score runs. I mean, we only lost 1 starter from that team last year. So there's no doubt we're going to hit bombs, we're going to score runs, we're going to put pressure on people. But now it's, you know what? We can win a championship because the development that I'm seeing out of my pitching thus far, it just gives me goosebumps, makes me really excited. So.
Well, hopefully all of that now stays that way for
Yes.
the next few months and
Yes.
shows up just that way when you want it to in February.
Yeah, well, I've been told that I've already put a target on our back because we actually made T-shirts up that say OKC on the front because this year the Division II World Series is in Oklahoma City. And, you know, we return the firepower that we return. Why not have that kind of expectation? Why not try to build that culture on a daily basis? You know, I don't feel like I'm setting them up for failure. I feel like I'm setting them up for, hey, set your goals high and let's hold each other accountable on a daily basis. So.
Well, hopefully we're talking about that several months from now.
Absolutely.
Coach Buckingham, good luck to you and the team during the remainder of your offseason.
Thank you.
And when we come back, I'll be joined by SVSU men's soccer coach Cale Wasserman. That's next on SVSU Red Alert. Welcome back to SVSU Red Alert. I'm JJ Boehm, joined by SVSU men's soccer coach Cale Wasserman. And Coach, first of all, congratulations on making it into the NCAA tournament, and then even more so to be able to pick up already your first victory, getting a win on the road at Northwood 5-2.
Yeah, the guys have been putting in a lot of work over the past year to get back to the tournament, which in itself is a huge accomplishment, but for our guys to respond the way they did after some adversity the last couple weeks and perform the way they did yesterday was a tremendous day for the program.
I've got to think it had to be a very interesting environment on game day because you're playing Northwood for the 3rd time in the span of only about 2 weeks, first of all, but then they had a bunch of snow dumped on their field, so the start of the game is delayed. I mean, so you're itching to go out and play, and then you got to wait.
Yeah, we woke up, looked out the window and saw, 3-4 inches of snow, whatever it was, and we're a little concerned as how we were going to get the game off, but the Northwood staff and volunteers did an amazing job to clear the field. I've never seen anything like that with the amount of snow that was surrounding the border of the field and the actual field being as playable and in as good shape as it was a great effort by them and really made for a great environment for the fans and for the players to play in a situation like that. So we were glad we got the game off and obviously performed well enough and had enough fun celebrating, sliding into the snow a few times for us to advance.
And a situation, too, where you play them in the GLIAC championship game, they hold you scoreless, and then the next time around, just, basically a week later, you're able to score 5 goals.
Yeah, Northwood is a very solid defensive team, and if they put a goal in on you, it's extremely hard to break them down. They get so many numbers behind the ball. So when we scored the goal just before halftime to go up 2-1, we knew that if we did things right and the way we adjusted at halftime, it was going to make them open up and have to attack more to try to create an equalizer, which basically gave us a lot more space to advance and attack and counterattack. And with guys like Craig Neal, and Vaughn Frederick, and Jordan Kolk, and the speed that those guys bring, and Tyler Channel, who was Offensive Player of the Year last year in the conference, we knew that we'd have some opportunities to counterattack, and executed really well and ended up scoring 5 straight goals. Michael Lamb, it was his first start in about 15 games, and he was the Defensive Player of the Year in the conference last year, but had an unfortunate injury 5 games into our season. So to get him back was great. It shored up the back line, which helped us from the midfield, and then he got a goal as well, which was a great welcome back party for him. So.
And now it's kind of deja vu all over again for you and for the program. Obviously, 2 years ago, you make the run all the way to the national championship game. You had to play Quincy in the playoffs to do that. It was a classic game here at SVSU. That's your next opponent, and you go back to Northeastern State in Oklahoma, which is a place you also played 2 years ago.
It's a little bit of deja vu. I mean, playing an opponent that we played a couple years ago in a different location, but the same location that we advanced into in a different round. So our guys are familiar with the field and the surroundings and the locker room, and we'll have also played against about half of this Quincy team 2 years ago, the upperclassmen. So it's a very tough opponent, an opponent. I think they've only lost 1 game all year out of maybe 20 games, and the mature group of guys that we have against the mature, talented group of Quincy guys should make for a very good quality game. We're hoping, obviously, to execute on all cylinders like we did yesterday, but we're looking forward to a challenge. We're excited for it, but we know that we've got a big task at hand and need to be ready to go.
What do you need to do in order to be successful, as you said, against a very good, very experienced Quincy club?
Again, I think it's always come down to the same thing for our team. It's hard work and balance. If we're putting forward the physical and mental effort that we need, and ready to go from the start of the whistle, that's going to be the first step. But the second part is finding a balance between attacking and defending. You can't afford to give up goals against a quality team like Tiffin or any of the other 16 teams that are left in the country. Everybody has players that can hurt you and that can score on you, so you've got to be shored up defensively. But at the same time, you've got to be able to keep the ball and wear the other team down a little bit and create chances for yourself. So if we can possess and kind of find the balance between attacking and defending and be ready to go on both sides of the ball, that's going to give us the best chance. We've got extremely dangerous players going forward and some very good defenders, but they've got to do it on both sides of the ball. So we know what we need to do. The next step is preparing the next couple days and getting it done on Friday.
Well, hopefully the Cardinals can do that. We'd all love to see another run all the way to the national championship game. Coach Wasserman, good luck to you and the squad.
Thank you very much.
And when we come back, I'll be rejoined by SVSU football coach Jim Collins. That's next on SVSU Red Alert.
This week's Spring Hill Suites Male Athlete of the Week is Craig Neal. Neal, a senior on the SVSU men's soccer team, helped propel the Cardinals to their second trip to the NCAA round of 16 in the last 3 years. Saginaw Valley defeated rival Northwood 5-2 on Sunday, 11/16 in the NCAA Tournament Division II Midwest Regional Semifinal round. Neal scored 2 goals for the Cardinals in the victory over the Timberwolves. The senior has team-high 9 goals this year, including 4 game winners. Saginaw Valley advances to the round of 16, where it will face Quincy University. The game will be played on the campus of Northeastern State University in Oklahoma. Craig Neal, your Spring Hill Suites Male Athlete of the Week.
Welcome back to SVSU Red Alert. I'm JJ Boehm, rejoined by SVSU football coach Jim Collins. And Coach, you alluded to this a little bit earlier in the program, that obviously off-season now, conditioning a big part, and one of the things that's within your control in terms of now as you prepare for 2015.
Well, absolutely, JJ, and it's really 2 things. Number one, it's the maturity factor of growing up and understanding that it's your time. And even though a lot of guys played this year as young players and gained a lot of experience, they didn't have the type of success in terms of the scoreboard that they would like to have. So what they need to do is, number one, learn what it takes to win. Not just to play, but what it takes to win in this league. And that's something you got to work on in the off season. And then obviously just the physical things that you have to do to get bigger, stronger, and faster. And I really felt that we've got a lot of young guys. When you play young guys, when you're playing redshirt freshmen and true freshmen and sophomores, most of the time and when you're matched up against guys who are juniors and seniors, it's going to be tough to win those battles. But then again, at the same time, you're maturing those guys so that when they become juniors and seniors, they can be that dominant player like you see during the week. So we've got a lot of work to do in the weight room. We got a lot of work to do in the conditioning aspect of getting quicker and getting in better shape for the future. And I think it's going to come down to the effort and intensity that each of these players puts into it, and that sense of urgency that they need to have every single day they go out and work in the weight room.
How much does the addition of the new field house help in terms of some of those things? Obviously, the weight room you already had, but now you have an opportunity to work on an actual football-style surface even in the off-season.
It's huge, and it's a huge benefit. And I said this all along, as nice as that facility is to practice in when there's those cold, rainy days outside, the biggest benefit is going to be our off-season program, the ability to work out in there every day, work on your speed, your quickness, and your agility every single day of the off-season in order to put yourself in a position to get faster and get more agile. So I think that's going to be big, and we are surely going to take advantage of it. The other thing about it is just having that surface, being able to do all that work on turf, the same surface that you're going to play on Saturdays, I think is a big benefit as well, huge benefit.
What do you do now in terms of establishing your recruiting priorities looking ahead as well? Because obviously, as you saw this season, there are some guys who might come in and play as freshmen next year, but obviously I've got to think you're going to be looking across the spectrum in terms of what you need to get better as a football team.
Well, number one, I think we brought in a great group of offensive linemen in last year's class. So we're always looking to well-round our recruiting class, but I feel good about moving forward with O-line and D-line for that matter. So I think it's going to come down to these things. I think playmakers on both sides of the ball. I think guys in the secondary that are capable of making plays, potentially impact guys as true freshmen, and the same on offense. I think it's really difficult for linemen and linebackers to come in and play as true freshmen, but those skill guys can always come in and help you. So I think, having guys with speed, playmaking ability, in those key areas on the skill in the skill areas is going to be really important, as well as just making sure we round out a great recruiting class of guys that are Saginaw Valley type of players.
One of the things I saw talking to some players and talking to some parents after the Grand Valley game was that this was a group that, as disappointed as they were in that loss and disappointed as they were in the season, they were all almost eager, even just an hour or two after the game is concluded, to get back to work. And so I'm sure that's something that, as disappointed as you are, you also find encouraging.
Well, absolutely. We handed in our equipment this morning, and everybody wanted to know when the weight room is going to be open. So this group wants to get back at it. They're not satisfied. They're not happy with the way the season went, with the results, but they also know we've got something. We've got enough talent in this program to get things turned around quick if we do all the things it takes in the offseason to prepare ourselves for 2015. And this group is ready for that. And I hand it to them. Number one, I thought we had great leadership, JJ, from our seniors. So I think they set the tone and built that camaraderie and that spirit. And then as coaches, I think our biggest job is not just to develop these guys, but to make sure they understand the steps that it takes in order to be right back on top.
Well, hopefully the Cardinals can get back on top in 2015. One hand, it seems like a long way away. On the other hand, I know it'll be here before any of us know it. So, Coach Collins, good luck to you in the program as you start looking ahead to 2015.
Thanks, JJ.
That's SVSU head football coach Jim Collins. I'm JJ Bain, and we hope you have enjoyed this edition of SVSU Red Alert.